guys, welcome back to Simply Fujica, a place for budding and aspiring entrepreneurs. Guys, I am so excited for the video that I have for you. But before we get started, thank you so much for joining us today. And if you're new to the channel, welcome. In today's video, I want to talk to you about how do you create your policies and procedures. Now guys, this is different from what to put in your policies and procedures, because I did a video similar to that last year, and I'll make sure that's linked at the bottom here, and I'll also make sure it's included in the description. But today we really want to talk about how should you go about creating your policies and procedures. By far, when I talk to you guys on the phone, that's probably the most requested item I talk about is policies and procedures. So if that's something you want to hear, then let's get started. So the first tip that I have for you guys is decide if you want to create your own policies and procedures or whether you want to purchase them. Now I'm going to start with the purchasing side of this. Purchasing can be costly, and just from me doing a quick Google search, literally I just entered how much does it cost to purchase policies and procedures. Guys, a lot of places, a lot of consulting firms really don't want to put a price out there. They'd rather reel you in, have you fill out the contact form, have you call them. But based on the research that I've done, it goes anywhere from $500 to about $2,500. And a lot of times people want to sell packages, so that may or may include other forms that you may need to do your business. Ultimately, that's a costly decision, and so if you don't have a lot of time, you really don't want to invest a lot of sweat equity in this, you're really still unsure as to what to put in it, that might be a potential solution for you. However, if you do have the time, and I will say it's my recommendation, I really think that you should build your own. Ultimately, I decided to create my own home care policies and procedures. Number one, I definitely wanted to make sure that I could feel and talk through what are some of those policies and procedures that I wanted for my home care agency. Because remember guys, if you purchase a template or if you have somebody else putting together your home care policies and procedures, you're essentially leaving it up to them to tell you what's important, and you're just filling in the blanks of your personal information for your particular home care agency. However, if you draft your own, you get to decide what you're putting in front of your customers. You get to decide what emphasis you're placing on your home care policies and procedures. Your policies and procedures is what's going to set you apart from the competition. So this is really that document that's going to serve as your basis or foundation for your home care organization. Considering how powerful it is, you definitely want to have a say in its formation. The second tip that I have for you guys is know your state agency regulations. Regardless of whether you purchase a template, you hire somebody to create your own policies and procedures, or whether you create your own, you are going to have to know your state's governing authorities regulations. This way you'll know what to put into your policies and procedures, because that's the biggest question I get: what do I put into it? In the state of California, ours is the California Department of Social Services, and when you go to their website, and I'll make sure to link that at the bottom for you, you guys know this is always the website that I use to make sure that I'm giving you the most up-to-date, the most valid information as of the viewing of this video. So by visiting cdss.california.gov, you will find the following. Abuse reporting procedures. At a minimum, documentation must indicate that all employees will be informed of their responsibilities associated with abuse reporting procedures. Secondly, hiring practices. Documentation must include the organization's plan of informing employees of conditions of their employment, including fingerprint clearance, statement of prior criminal convictions, TB clearance, and registration on the Home Care Aid Registry. Those are the only two things that are called out by the state. A question that you can ask yourself is, what do my employees need to know in order to be successful at my home care organization? The third tip that I have for you is build your home care and policies with your brand in mind. So I talk a lot about what is your brand? How are you differentiating yourself against the other 1,000 home care agencies that are local in your area? So what does that look like to you? What makes you different? What happens is this becomes selling points for you as you're recruiting new employees. And also these are selling points when you're talking to your clients, when you're trying to onboard them, when you're really trying to seal that deal. What's going to make them choose you over the other 2 or 3 people that they've already talked to? Okay guys, so what I'm going to do is give you an example of what are the contents of a successful policies and procedures. So you can have a section about the company, about your home care organization. That organization, part of the introduction would be your welcome, your vision statement, your mission statement, something to tell you about your home care organization. Section 2 is your employment policies. So what is the non-discrimination and non-harassment policies look like? How do you handle FMLA or any other leaves? Do you guys offer PTO? What does your drug testing look like? And then section 3, some examples of section 3 could be an employment relationship. So what is the open door policy? How do you record time? What is your payment policy? What is your policy on violence in the workplace? What is your social media policy looking like? What is workplace safety, accident reporting, incident reporting? Those are just examples of the actual employment relationship policies. You can also have section 4 as a client care portion of your home care policies and procedures. So what is your what is your stance on how you take care of the clients? What is your transferring policy? What are some of the do's and don'ts of patient care? What are the standards of care? What is the proper way to move somebody? What does body mechanics look like? All of those things should be in your client care section of your policies and procedures. And then what about standards of conduct? So how do you expect a person representing your home care organization? How do you expect them to behave? What happens if they go against that? What does the disciplinary process look like? So all of those are examples of what should be contained within your policies and procedures. So again, you're marrying what that governing authority is telling you. Because remember, that's how we started this section. You're marrying what that governing authority is telling you, and then you're also laying down the foundation of how you are going to operate your business. That's how you create a solid policy and procedure manual. The 4th tip I have for you guys is to create a timeline. Now that you realize what is the basis, you've created the foundation, you know what sections you're going to have, and you know what needs to be put in your policies and procedures, the last thing for you to do is to set small goals on creating your policy and procedure manual. So remember, I have shared this with you guys in a couple of videos, is, at the time when I was creating my policies and procedures, I was still working full-time. And so either after work, usually after I did the kids' homework with them, and definitely on the weekends, that was my time. That was my time that I would dedicate in creating my policies and procedures. So for you, that may look different, but you want to make sure you carve out that time. If you don't do that, it could potentially drag on longer than it needs to. So in order to help you describe that, you're going to have to put yourself on some kind of timeline. And let's just use 60 days as an example. So let's say you want to create your 6 sections within 60 days. 60 days is equivalent to about 8 weeks. So based on the fact that you have 6 sections, you want to make sure that you're doing about 1 to 1.5 sections each week. So from there, you can break it down to hours. Do you think it's going to take an hour at a time, 2 hours at a time? When you're working on that hour or 2 hours, what topics are you doing with that time? So you want to make it real granular, because when you sit down to do it, you want to make sure that you are not wasting that time. You want to take advantage of that time that you carved out to build your policies and procedures. Guys, once you get over that initial hump, because if you're anything like me, you're probably overthinking it. If you could just get started, put pen to paper if you have to, and then translate some of that onto a good old Google Doc, and just, do a little here. Maybe you can't work for 2 hours at a time. Maybe that's unrealistic for you. But if you just start, maybe 10 minutes at a time, 15 minutes at a time, and then work your way up to an hour, work your way up to a couple of hours. You guys know you will have a document that you're so proud of. I think I shared this in the home care policies and procedures video that I did last year. When I put that policy and procedure document together, I was so proud. I was so proud because that came from me. I think the biggest thing, the biggest takeaway from this video is just get started. Get started. You know, push yourself a little bit where you need to, and really just make the commitment, and then start acting on it. Start acting on it. Go into the action piece of it, and believe it or not, you will start to see progress. And once you make progress, the sky's the limit. So for those of you who have gone through this process, if you have any tips that you would like to add, put it in the comment section. I would love to hear your thoughts. I think people going through this process would also love to hear your thoughts. That's all though that I have for this video. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm really trying to put together content that will help you, go through this licensing process. So guys, if you like the video, make sure you like it. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell notification so that you're notified whenever I drop a new video. Guys, again, I'm going to ask that you continue to spread the word for the channel. People need this information. They're calling me, so I know they need it. So if you have someone in your life who could benefit from this information, make sure you tell them about it. And guys, most importantly, stay blessed.